Hello, good evening and welcome to the Dritte Liga. Tonight we are in Western Germany for the match between Viktoria Köln and Dynamo Dresden on matchday 15 of the 2023-24 campaign. The Sports Park Hohenberg, not far from its capacity, we have 8,000 or so, and everyone ready for what will hopefully be an excellent game of football on this Friday evening in Germany's fourth most populous city. Dynamo have made the journey from the very east of the country to the very west, almost 600 kilometres between the two, also 11 points and 7 places in the table. You can see it's a 3-4-2-1, if you will, or a 3-4-3, chosen by Olaf Janssen for Viktoria Köln. One enforced change as Jeremias Lorsch is missing from the squad. David Kubata fills that hole, making his first starting 11 appearance. Also, two new young talents on the bench waiting eagerly to make their debuts. Zumana Keita and Dan Ngombia Zonga in the squad for the first time. One change too for the league leaders, Dynamo Dresden, in a 4-3-3 or 4-1-2-3 perhaps. We'll see exactly once they get going. But certainly Panagiotis Vlachodimos rotates out of the 11 to the bench, where he'll sit alongside Robin Meissner, who joined from Victoria in the summer. Tom Zimmerschied replaces the Greek in the 11. And still without Kirilo Melichenko, seriously injured his knee again and will be out for months, on the brink of a return from a torn cruciate ligament suffered in March. He was close to making a comeback but injured in training, now sadly sidelined again. Victoria also with a long-term absence through a torn cruciate ligament. Brian Henning out for several months after tearing his in last month's cup game. First team regular will be out for a while. As mentioned, 11 points and 7 places between the pair in the table. Victoria having another solid enough season, sat in 8th heading into the weekend. They will now face the league leaders, who are top despite having played one fewer game than every other side in the top half. It is pretty close between they and Jan Regensburg though, in what's turning into a 2-horse race. That one game in hand, but currently level with Jan on 31 points and only top courtesy of a goal difference, which is just one better. And it's a 7-point gap to Rot-Weiss Essen in third. So we will have a 10-minute delay to the match. You can see the players not quite ready to go. What was due to be a kickoff on the hour. It'll be 10 minutes. The crowd were a little late into the stadium, but not too long to wait. I'm sure it will be worth the wait once it gets going. So, dissecting their seasons thus far a little more in that 10 minutes. It was a near perfect start to the campaign for Dynamo. 6 wins from their first 7 games. Things were a little more up and down for them in early October. First, there was a surprise 3-1 loss to an Essen side about to concede 9 goals in 4 days. They bounced back with a win against Hallerscha. They're having to come from behind to beat a side in the relegation zone. And then they were held to a goalless draw by 1860 Munich. Since then, though, normal service has been resumed. Kicked off a run of 3 straight league wins in what was a top-of-the-table clash against Ulm. Complemented that with an 8-0 win over Minnows Eintracht Niesky in the Saxon Cup on the 31st of October, emphatically avoiding an upset, not getting spooked by a game on Halloween. Last time out, it was a pretty routine 2-0 win over struggling Freiburg 2. A goal at each end of the game, Luca Herrmann in the 3rd minute and Robin Meissner in the 86th. It's also a good start to the season for Victoria. They won their first 2 matches, but they then went winless in 4. From there it's turned into an up and down season. Bounced back from their winless run with an undefeated run in late September and early October. It was 2 wins and 3 draws. They've lost 2 of their last 3 and were knocked out of the DFB Pokal last week, albeit understandably to Eintracht Frankfurt, 7th in the top flight.
Sportfreunde, liebe Viktorianer, sehr verehrte Gäste aus Dresden, wir begrüßen euch
Not too long to wait rather. But Dresden in a suspended game with Saarbrücken. We'll watch a little bit of that now. It's postponed, but it's more entertaining than 10 minutes of watching the crowd. So a few of the highlights. Nervous moment there for the black and yellows. Decent save by Stefan Deliacha, who remains in goal this evening, has been ever present for the side. And a penalty shout in the pouring rain. I see a little contact there between Park Kyu-hyun and the attacker. Referee wasn't interested on that occasion. It was eventually the rain that would put an end to the game. Conditions too extreme. You can see the ball struggling to move on the surface. There's Stefan Kuchka, the Dynamo captain. A shot from range, comfortably held by Deliacha on that occasion. But it wasn't all plain sailing. No pun intended with the water for the league leaders. They were up against it. They did get down the other end and cause a few problems. Conditions changing things so dramatically. See the defender sliding off the pitch there as the ball stayed motionless in a puddle. Another scary moment for Deliacha. And another penalty appeal would be waved away for Saarbrücken. Certainly can see the complaints coming from the number 9. He was eventually suspended. See there the state of the pitch. Tried to continue valiantly, but that game now will be played next week. Back to tonight. Dresden looking to continue an excellent run of form, unbeaten in 6, obviously with a little helping hand there from the suspended game, but went behind in that one either, it's worth saying. We spoke about that loss to Eintracht Frankfurt for Viktoria being fairly justified. It was a less justifiable loss in their last league game. And gave up the lead against lowly Hallescher. Scored twice in 12 second half minutes to turn the match around. Snatched the win, hauling themselves out of the drop zone in the process. That's what's left Viktoria 8th currently in the table. Mid-table currently, and that was also the case for Viktoria last season, 9th in the end. Little marooned with a 6-point gap to 10th and a 12-point gap to 6th. Nothing to play for as the campaign drew to a close, and that perhaps reflected in the fact they lost their final 2 games, dropping below 1860 Munich in the process. It's been how things have gone since Viktoria were promoted to the Dritte Liga in 2019. And the results read 12th, 12th, 13th, 9th, now currently 8th. Okay, to move up the standings at least temporarily, if they can find a way to beat the top of the table side this evening. A win would take them all of the way into the top 4, potentially. 3 points behind SSV Ulm in 4th place and what is the qualification spot for the DFB Pokal. And that big gap, as mentioned, up to the top 2, Dresden and Jan Regensburg. Somewhat running away with it. Long way to go in this campaign, though. Good 20-odd games. Dynamo showing kind of class one would expect. It was a slightly disappointing campaign overall last season. started well again, 5 wins from 7, from the first 7, that is, almost identical to their start this campaign. But the wheels rather fell off in October, went winless in 6 before the winter break. Once they recovered well, once the season restarted, they could only manage 6th ultimately. Loss in the penultimate game costing them dear. They finished 1 point behind 3rd placed Osnabrück and missed out on that spot in the DFB Pokal on goal difference. Painful end to that campaign, but so far managing to avoid another autumn slump so far this time around. Applause for the home fans from those in the technical staff. Olaf Janssen seemingly back in with the players, maybe that final team talk. A 10-minute delay, unlikely to change his plans too much, but players obviously trying to keep warm. It plays with the mind a little when you get a delay, when you're mentally prepared for kickoff and have to keep yourself pumped up, hyped up. The youngsters on the pitch doing their part. Bit of flag waving to add to the atmosphere, which is still bubbling along inside the stadium. Sport Park Hohenberg, one of the smaller stadiums in the Dritte Liga, but rarely lacking in atmosphere, and the players are now ready to head out onto the pitch. Big night for both. Viktoria looking to get their campaign back on track after a few disappointing results. Dynamo don't want to give Jan Regensburg the opportunity to jump them at the top of the table over the course of the weekend. There is Olaf Janssen and his opposite number, Marcus Anfang. Anfang is a Cologne native, knows this area well. He said in the pre-match press conference, the Cologne Carnival starts tomorrow. He said it's a crazy time of year, the whole city just celebrating itself. You can speak Kölsch, you can feel Kölsch, despite his local allegiances. He'll be hoping there aren't too many Kölsch celebrations at the final whistle. Tonight's referee, Florian Exner from Münster. His assistants, Lukas Schlösser and Timo Gansleveit. They'll hope for nothing too contentious to deal with over the course of the evening. These two sides not too badly behaved over the course of the season so far. 1 or 2 on in a risk of suspension, though. Michael Schultz for the home side has picked up 4 yellows so far. You'll have to be careful not to earn 1 more. See Luca Marseille there. Joint 3rd top scorer in the league. 7 goals to his name already. He'll do well to grab one against Dynamo this evening. Certainly doable. On home soil, Kutschker and co. Holding the away fans, come a long way. Almost 600 kilometers. And now after 10 minutes, we are ready to go. And the referee blows the whistle and we are underway. Match day 15 in the Dritte Liga gets going. Viktoria Köln take on Dynamo Dresden. Viktoria in white with the red and black trim. Shooting from left to right as we watch on in this first 45. Dynamo in their away kit, black with that touch of gold. And looking to get going immediately here. Good work from Jakob Lemmer. Keeping the ball alive. It will be an early corner. There's barely 30 seconds gone. The first of the game goes the way of the away side. Moritz Fritz, the captain for Viktoria. Played in every game so far this season. It's his 15th appearance. Nicholas Hauptmann with the corner, which is floated out towards the edge of the box and struck on the volley. And it was heading, I think, on target from Luca Herrmann. Headed over for another corner. Good effort, difficult technique. Strike that on. Way down from a fairly great height. Herrmann lurking again in a similar position. See if Hauptmann goes for the repeat. And this one's closer in, punched away by Benvol. Not totally cleared as yet by Viktoria. He does finally break into the Dynamo half. Plenty of time though for Park Kyu-hyun. Making just his 6th appearance of the season at left back. Always feels a little wrong to see a left back with the number 2. Traditional, of course. Number 3 and the right back with the number 2. Pressing high though and nicked away from Park, and maybe an early opportunity for Viktoria, but no, the flag has gone up. Ball will hit the back of the net, or maybe it won't. Cleared marginally off the line. Luca Marseille though showing why he is joint 3rd top scorer so far this campaign. Maybe saying that you couldn't hear the referee's whistle. Of course, always safer to put the ball into the back of the net and not turn away on what could be a huge goal-scoring opportunity if you've heard a whistle from the crowd. Perhaps Marseille will be a threat tonight, and showing why inside the opening 3 minutes. Right decision though, having watched the replay back, just a little early with the run. After that early burst in the first couple of minutes, Dynamo slowing the pace down a little, building up those possession stats, settling perhaps a few early nerves with some early touches. Always important for the players. So that adrenaline gets rushing. They do have a lot of the ball. More often than not, Dresden, that is one of their impressive stats. A look at some of those to show the Dresden dominance so far this season. And Anfang's system is designed for dominance and control. Saxons have the 3rd highest share of possession in the league with an average of 56%. Only Werl and Freiburg have had more of the ball. What matters is what they do with the ball though. Come back to that in a minute though, because they've given away a free kick in a fairly promising position here for the home side. Toni Bogicevic riding the option of the in-swinger. David Philip there as well, it is the former. Whips it in, but a little low and cleared away by Dynamo. Bogicevic challenging again for the header, but it'll be a Dynamo throw. Christoph Gregor there. Another ever-present, or at least having appeared in every game for Viktoria. Yet to score though, the centre-back. Not the case for Michael Schultz, his fellow centre-back, who already picked up 2 goals. Dynamo generally so comfortable on the ball. Like to work it out from the back, and they've done so nicely in the space for Park on the left. It's only flicked delicately away rather than an emphatic clearance there. And it's back with Dynamo pretty quickly. Paul Ville. To Park, and now Luca Herrmann. Ville leaves it for Park. Biding their time. In no rush to just hoof the ball in the general direction of the Viktoria goal. And take their time and pick their moment. Herrmann keeps it in on the right wing. Park wants it on the left. Have to wait for now. Cutting inside the left back considerably with Nicholas Hauptmann also there to cover defensive duties. Ville over to the right. The cross is put in. Deflection though through to Ben Vol. Reinstated as the confirmed number 1 to match the number on his jersey. Did miss 5 games in late September and early October. But this is 10th appearance of the season now. Seemingly confirmed as the first choice between the sticks. Marcus Hanfangers had no such decisions to make about his goalkeeper. Stefan Doliacha hasn't missed a minute of this campaign so far. 24-year-old keeper, joined from Borussia Dortmund 2 in 2022. This is his 49th appearance. He'll hit the 50 mark next week, one would presume. Yes, back to those Dresden dominant stats. What they do with the ball is play the most decisive passes in the league. Not too far away from being one. They manage an average of 4 per game. In comparison, the league average is 2.76. They also have the most touches in the opposition penalty area. 20 per game compared to an average of 15. The best dribblers in the league, completing 31.5 per game compared to an average of 23. And once they have the ball, they lose it more rarely than any other team as well. The only drawback is perhaps not converting their chances enough. After the Freiburg game, Anfang said, "I think we should have scored far more goals than we actually did." And the numbers back him up. They have 21 to their name so far this campaign. Based on XG, they should have almost 29. The Freiburg game alone, they attempted 13, 5 on target, only 2 found the net. If they can refine that clinical finishing, then well, I think anyone else will struggle to get near them in this season. But so far, Viktoria holding their own here. As we approach the 10-minute mark, they are on level terms and win another free kick in the Dresden half. Park, the guilty party this time, not quite as close to goal and maybe a little too far out to think about bringing the ball into the danger area. You can see the players lining up just outside the area for now. Philip is there again, and Bogicevic. Once again, one player for each foot to keep the defence guessing whether it will be an in or out swinger. And it's lofted in by Philip, comfortably gathered up by Doliacha though, who tries to mount a quick counter with a long goal kick. And the header back is picked up by Jakob Lemmer, but poked wide. A let off for Viktoria. Danger looked to have gone, but just headed over far too easily. Lemmer in on goal. The first touch not good enough, and putting him under pressure from the recovering Simon Handel. He's always going to struggle with the second touch after not really making contact, failing to knock the ball ahead of him, and then rushing the shot in the end. Not the first clear-cut chance of the game. There's space again here for Dynamo. Claudio Kamenekt bringing it forwards, crossed in, behind Stefan Kuchka. So good in the air. Might get another opportunity here though, one back by Houtman. It was volleyed by Kuchka. Not too close to worry Ben Bol. He's dawdling a little. Kuchka, difficult technique, not quite nailing it. Appreciative of the ball into the middle though. Captain, he's Dynamo's top scorer, despite having just the 4. And goals, as well as perhaps a little lower than they should be, as mentioned, spread across a number of players in the team. Even the right back, Claudio Kamenekt, scored 2 and probably should have had a hat-trick in their 3-2 win over Ulm 3 games ago. Who's waiting on the bench? It was Chile. Seemingly one massive towel shared, or maybe just a number of towels overlapping, but either way, they have to keep warm in case they're needed. You never know when an injury could appear, even in the first half. Some quality on that bench as well. Jonathan Meyer, Denis Volkovsky, featured a few times this season. We'll look to get involved later on. And here is Kamenekt, seemingly sizing up for a long throw. Not as it turns out, taken short to Ville. Chipped in towards Kuchka again. Might drop for him here for another volley. Just taken off him by the head of the Viktoria defender, and then Kuchka with the foul on David Phillip. No hard feelings. Joined from Ingolstadt in the summer of 2022, Kuchka, and netted 9 in 36 last campaign, 4 in 14 so far this. 34-year-old. Goes a long way back with the club. Was part of the Dynamo youth setup as a teenager way back in 2007. Before starting his career with FV Dresden. Eventually returning 15 years later. A rare hoof forwards by Dynamo, wins them a throw. Michael Schultz going safety first. I wonder, I mentioned at the top of the game that 4 yellows from Schultz. Well, I was about to say whether he will be bearing that in mind and trying to avoid that 5th yellow of the season, but judging by that tackle, clearly not, and he's very lucky to avoid entering the book there. Tackle from behind, bit of a scissor as well, and that is pretty lenient, you'd have to say, from Florian Exner. Surely a final warning though, certainly a stern talking to for Schultz. Card or not, Dynamo with their first promising free kick of the game. And it's hit on the edge by Veerland and appeals for handball, and the referee points to the spot. Protests from the Viktoria players, as one would expect, have certainly fired with plenty of pace and from a pretty close distance. Hard to see from that angle, blocked off by Andre Becker. And the ball striking the right arm. Left certainly into the body, the right not in an unnatural position, you'd say, with putting out the arm to soften the fall. And it is, though, going behind Christoph Gregor. Whatever you think, the referee's decision final, the responsibility will of course fall to the captain once again, Stefan Kuchka. Looks to make it his 5th of the season and 1st of this game, and does so emphatically into the bottom corner. Show of strength from the talisman, and Dynamo flex their muscles and put themselves one ahead after a quarter of an hour. Well struck. Ben Vol went the right way. He wasn't too far from the ball, but enough power and far enough in the corner from Kuchka to break the deadlock. We'll have to see what Olaf Janssen and Christoph Gregor had to say about the decision after the game. Certainly struck the hand, though, of the centre-back. No debate about that. I'm sure they'll say he's putting out the hand to break his fall. But it was away from his body and gave the referee a decision to make. Now Viktoria will have to come from behind if they are to get anything from this game. They need to be more clinical and more accurate than that if they're going to. Overhead pass out to the left. There is Olaf Janssen. And to readdress his plans a little. Having fallen behind, I'm sure he'll have a contingency plan against the league leaders for falling behind. And to ensure this doesn't get away from them, though, because there's space here again on the left for Zimmerschid. It's good defending, though. And the goal kick, I think, will be the correct decision. It was Paul Bill's strike, led to the penalty. Not a often source of goals, Bill. To get one this season, despite appearing in every game. Has managed just 5 in 4 seasons with Dynamo. Far more likely to pick up a card. Got 10 yellows last season. Also yet to pick up one of those, though, this season. He's played his part in this game already. Not quite enough for the statisticians to class as an assist. But the defensive midfielder playing a direct role in winning that penalty. Patrick Karankiewicz trying to bring that down in style. Almost scorpion-like touch. There's the shot again from Veerland. I'm sure the debate will go on into the night about that one, but no doubt it struck the hand of Christoph Gregor And no doubt about the finish from Kuchka either. Viktoria steadied the ship, seems, and now with a comfortable spell of possession. They have the second best home record in the league behind Dynamo. And where Dynamo's home record is incredible, their away is a little more moderate, you could say. 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses so far on the road. On their way to a 4th win as things stand. A long way to go. It's a lovely touch from Hauptmann. The ball in isn't bad as well. It's a tempting one for Kuchka coming to the near post. Vil clearly inspired by the previous attempt, resulting in a penalty, trying his luck from range again. That one well wide of Jan Bull's goal. Goal kick taken by Michael Schultz, short to his keeper. You mentioned that home record for Dynamo. It is quite extraordinary. It's earned them a joint record last time out with their win over Freiburg. They're unbeaten at home since March and now on a run of 11 consecutive home victories. Such a streak has only happened once before in the history of the Dritte Liga. And that was Eintracht Braunschweig in the 2010-11 campaign. So one more home win to claim that record for their own. Tonight, though, of course, focused on their away form. Things shaping up nicely enough so far as we pass the 25% mark of the game. It's that kind of composure from Jakob Levald is intrinsic throughout this Dynamo squad. Beautiful first touch as well to bring it down from Zimmerschied. Plays it into the middle. Hauptmann trying to pass it along the line. Kind of running down a blind alley in the end. Very little space to operate in, but how about this for a first touch? On the long ball from Zimmerschied. Killing it dead. Picking out a teammate. His first touch, not quite as impressive, but it has resulted in a corner. Lemmer puts it in. Kuchka aiming the corner and gets the decision again. David Kubata coming into the 11 as mentioned before the game. Just his 3rd appearance of the season, the 20-year-old. Up against a formidable opponent. He is man-marking Stefan Kuchka. Either lacking in height. Well, there is Ben Vol who punches that away. Herman keeping it in Dynamo's possession. This time lifting it forwards. Header on comfortably, picked up by Vol. He in turn goes long towards Luca Marseille. Needs to use his pace and get him behind as he did, though a little too quickly in the early stages of the game. He another within 1 yellow of a suspension. Focused on attacking matters for the moment. Won't receive the ball there though as Bogicevic gives the ball away with a loose touch and then Tries a little too hard to make amends with a foul on Lars Bunning. Bunning going over a little easily there, but within his rights. Just about. This time was Hauptmann lost out. Vukicevic with a nice dummy. Still pressing fairly high, Dynamo here. Hunting in packs. And not the best goal kick from Ben Vol there. Really allowed them to make the most of it, and they might get another opportunity. The offside flag up from what was a tackle pass, in effect. It's immediately given to Paul Vildo. Contrast, Viktoria happy with Dynamo passing the ball around the back seemingly. No Gegen pressing from the home side as yet. Sometimes see them, not them, Viktoria, but teams in general conserve their energy and start to press later as the defenders' legs might be tiring a bit and more likely to be able to make the most of it and cause a panic or a slip. Efficiently worked out from the back by Dynamo, and Park with options chooses to switch the play. It's nicely brought down by Kamenekt, the opposite fullback, who's got to the byline and he was headed towards goal once again by Kuchka. Not on target this time though. Involved in pretty much everything so far. Dynamo captain, as is often the case. Said about him going all the way back to the youth setup. This is his third stint effectively with the club. Also had a loan spell with Dynamo in 2016-17 season after stints with RB Leipzig and Wolfsburg. Scored 19 on that occasion. Now up to 5, looking to improve upon that tally of 9 last campaign. Showing he's not slowing down anytime soon, certainly in goal-scoring terms, 34-year-old. Park gives away another free kick. Very similar position and seemingly the same two players. Discuss what to do this time, Filip and Bogicevic. Last time Filip floated it in. Players all standing around the same area just outside the box. It's put in with a bit more pace this time. Gathered up well by Stefan Doljacha, who seems to have taken a hit from Christoph Gregor. And the man who was guilty in one box, giving away a foul in the other. Like an innocent enough attempt at the ball though from the centre-back. Had to throw yourself at that and only sliding into the keeper because of the slippery surface. Doljacha's distribution also often excellent. See there, spotted a man and just pinged it straight to him. Nice ball over the top, once again brilliantly brought down by Zimmerschid, who'll run at his man. Cross not matching up to the touch on this occasion though. Over everyone and out for a throw in the end. It's a very classy first touch. Zimmerschid being allowed a little too much space on that left wing. Could cause Viktoria some problems if it isn't sorted out. Kamenek thought it was going to be his throw. I'm shocked that it wasn't, but it's given to Dynamo quickly enough as though it were. And left in the middle, and it's 2-0. Nicholas Hauptmann this time. Once again, too much space in the Viktoria box. And Dynamo punishing them as one would expect. All came from a Viktoria throw. Poor pass back, careless. And those are the kind of mistakes that Dynamo will punish. Well left by, I think it was Zimmerschid at the front post. It was indeed. Clearly getting a shout from Hauptmann behind him. Had acres of space in the area and made the most of it. And Viktoria now with a mountain to climb. Dynamo controlling this game. Going exactly the way they'd want it to. Again, showing that ability to bring it out from the back, and now it's Park looking to move things up the pitch. Rain pouring down now in Cologne. But Viktoria showing no signs of raining on Dynamo's parade. It's a little nervier though, unlike the league leaders. Pass back left by Lars Bunning and asking quite a bit of Deleacha. He got there before the attacker, only just. Can Viktoria halve the deficit? Would make a massive difference to their second half if they can. You do say 2-0 is the most dangerous lead. And just after you scored is often the most dangerous time. Dynamo need to take nothing for granted and continue to play as they have been. Invite Viktoria to create opportunities. This corner could be one. Headed away at the near post by Luca Hermann. Maybe another opportunity to put it in. And just outside the area. Referee not impressed by that, and less impressed still by Christoph Breger's tackle. And from bad to worse for the Viktoria centre-back. A lunge in, desperately trying to prevent the Dynamo counter-attack. Yes, it was Lars Bunning breaking away the defender. Felled by his fellow defender, who gets his first yellow of the game despite giving away a penalty. Kuchka to Lemma. Left by Zimmerschid. and fired home by Hauptmann. Another brilliant team goal from Dynamo Dresden. Looked to add a third there. Ball through to Kuchka. Had to be perfect, and I think would have been asking a lot of the offside line as well. Not to be said for the finish from Hauptmann. Ball quite high as it was fired across, coming in at pace, and made it look easy. In general, Dynamo making this look easy. Spoke about the carnival starting tomorrow in Cologne. It's definitely not going to be a carnival atmosphere if things continue to go this way for the hosts. Miserable day and a fairly miserable performance so far. Certainly a miserable scoreline for the Cologne faithful. That's brought down brilliantly again, this time by Lemmer. And Zimmerschied and Hauptmann are waiting in the middle again. It's given away by Hermann. Viktoria looked to break. That overhit, comfortable in the end for Deliacha. And another nasty looking foul, this time by Patrick Goronkiewicz. Just about escapes a booking, it would appear. Another firm talking to from the referee, but not cynical enough or dangerous enough to earn him a place in the book. Certainly borderline though, you'd say, watching that back. Viktoria can't lose their heads here. See frustration creeping in with some of these tackles. See what Olaf Janssen has to say in his halftime team talk. Might need some picking up. This 11 feel like a long 50 minutes ahead of them as things have been going. It's into the box again. Miss it clearance falls to Luca Hermann. Kamenex. Shot charged down. Seemingly not deflected. Bill with another shot. Bill versus Vol. On more occasions than one might have expected. Would be the case this evening. It's given away again in the area. Through to Zimmerschied. Fizzing across between the goal and the man at the far post. Dynamo looked like they could add to this before half-time. Maybe caught in two minds a little between the shot and the pass. Not quite nailing either. Viktoria can pick their way through like this, and they might find some more joy. You can see the Dresden players flooding back, but it's still with, I think, Marseille that was on the far side. Referee waves play on after collision. Might be put out though to allow the Viktoria player some treatment. Marseille was coming back, but it was Christoph Gregor who took the brunt of the pair of them bundling into him. Sometimes it's just not your night. Giving away a penalty, picks up a yellow card, and now a whack for good measure. Olaf Janssen knows this place well. Also knows Dynamo fairly well. Started his coaching career with 1860 Munich as assistant manager before becoming a caretaker manager of Rot-Weiss Essen in 2006. He took a spell out of coaching before returning as manager of Dynamo Dresden in 2013. He was sacked after 9 months on the job though. So maybe would have been looking for a bit of revenge this evening, but it is not going that way, it would appear. Went undefeated in his first 18 games at Viktoria in early 2018. We spoke about how far they could climb the table with a win, Cologne, but it could drop a fair way as well, depending on how results go over the course of the weekend. It is a tightly packed table between third and even, you'd say, as far down as 18th, but certainly 14th. Only 7 points covering those 12 spots. And Viktoria are to fall to a defeat here, which they'll have to go some to turn it around in the second half. They're only 3 points above 1860 Munich in 14th. The goal difference doing them some credit at the moment, but the way things are going, that could take a bit of a battering here. Dynamo unlikely to take their foot off the gas considerably. Heard from their manager about converting more of their chances. I'm sure the players will want to prove a point and find the net as often as possible. It's been pretty clinical so far. Misses really only half chances. Viktoria looking to conjure up a chance before the half-time break. All the way back to Vol. Kuchka bundling into Michael Schultz. Referee allows play to carry on. Commendable running from Park Kyu-Yun there. Charged all the way down to the keeper from left back and continued to race around. Only now dropping back to his traditional fullback position. Viktoria not rushing to try and grab one before the break. Would be an excellent time to score if they can. And the ball into the middle. Looked quite threatening, and it will be a corner. Like that had been prevented by Kamenex, but referee's decision will be a corner kick.
Class Entertainment, Ihr Premium-Partner für DJs und Künstler in Köln, präsentiert die offizielle Nachspielzeit von 2 Minuten.
45 minutes are up, so this may well be the final chance for Viktoria to get an attempt on target. There haven't been many of them. It's into a good area, but headed away by Kuchka, doing his defensive duties in the air as well, as he has been his attacking ones. Solid house work from the captain. And as one would expect, it's the Dynamo fans making all the noise. And there will be one more minute of additional time. One already elapsed, 2 on the board. Looks like the two teams will be content enough to go through the motions though. Of course, Dynamo not wanting to take any risks and risk seeing their deficit halved. And they are bouncing in the stands now. It's 5 years to the date since Dynamo Dresden were in Cologne for a very different night of football. Exactly 5 years ago today, the Saxons were away at FC Cologne in the second tier on the 10th of November. A game that saw them thrashed 8-1, the worst defeat in the club's history. Marcus Anfang was also the coach on that day. It's one he remembers clearly. Of course, because of the result, but also because the Dynamo fans. And it's only going to get better for them here, because it's another penalty for Dynamo, and they will have a golden opportunity to go down the tunnel, 3 up. Falling apart for Viktoria, who can't handle the pressure. Clumsy by Kubata, who allowed Lemmer to nick the ball off him, and Christoph Gregor giving away his second penalty of the evening. He said it was a miserable evening already for him, and that one, I think, far more clear-cut. And that seemingly is a second yellow card as well for Gregor. It is. But that is about as miserable as an evening can get. Gregor receives the second yellow, makes his way to the tunnel a little earlier than the other 21 players. The silver lining for Olaf Janssen is have half time to reconstruct his team. Seemingly a yellow for Fritz as well. And it's over to Kuchka for round 2 versus Ben Volt. And it's round 2 to the Dynamo captain again. Half-time whistle. And it will be 3-0 at the halfway point to Dynamo Dresden, who are running away with this. A 6th goal of the season for Kuchka. This time Ben Vol went the wrong way. Went the same way as he did for the first penalty, but Kuchka went the opposite way. Cool, calm and collected. Kuchka makes it 3. Meanwhile, it's a very different story for the home side Viktoria. 3 down at half-time. And they will be struggling once they come back. Surely a matter of damage limitation in the second 45. Welcome back to Cologne for the second half of this Dritte Liga match between Viktoria Köln and Dynamo Dresden. Matchday 15. It is not going the way of the hosts. 3-0 at the halfway point. An early penalty given away by Christoph Greger, converted by the Dynamo captain Stefan Kuchka. Added a second not long after through Niklas Hauptmann. Beautifully taken from the ball in, and then things going from bad to worse for Greger. Picked up a second yellow card as he gave away another penalty in first half stoppage time, which again Kuchka made no mistake in dispatching, and thus Dresden in a very dominant position heading into this second half. 3-0 to the good, and with a numerical advantage now. We'll see exactly how Viktoria have set up. The changes that one would expect have come to fruition. Andre Brecker making way for Jona Benedict Sticker. And of course they were reduced to 2 defenders in what was a 3-4-3 effective setup for the home side, and Olaf Janssen forced into a change, as you'd expect, and the number 9, Andre Becker, sacrificed for Jona Sticker. He's a right back by trade, so imagine they'll go 2-4 at the back, perhaps. Maybe one of the midfielders dropping back into the left back role. Simon Handel was on the left of midfield. Only time will tell. However they set up, it will surely be damage limitation now for the hosts. We have had a decent goal difference coming into the weekend of +3 in mid-table. That's what set them apart from some of the teams around them, but now back at 0 already, and it could get worse. Could of course get better, and look to get what could be a consolation. Never know, could be more. Luca Marseille on the attack there, and he certainly knows where the goal is. As mentioned, joint third top scorer so far in the Dritte Liga this campaign. 7 goals in his 13 appearances before tonight. He scored in the last 2 league games, also 3 in his last 4 and 6 in his last 7. Wonderful scoring form. He'll do well to get on the score sheet from here though. Make it 3 back-to-back scoring appearances. Might be doing a lot of this, chasing around the Dynamo defenders as they pass it about at their will. A bad day turned into a nightmare for Christoph Greger. First penalty was a little contentious, but immediately Dynamo looking to add a 4th. And it was Kuchka looking for his hat-trick. The flag's gone up anyway. It was a wonderful ball in. Kuchka couldn't divert on target. Jakob Lemmer has already got 2 assists, and it was a tight call, just about the right one. Kuchka not quite holding his run, also not quite getting the right touch on the ball once he did get there. Lemmer with the cross for Hauptmann's goal, and then winning the penalty in stoppage time. That triples his tally of assists for the season. He'd only got 1 before this evening and 1 goal. And here he is again, causing more nuisance down that right wing. Almost tackled, hangs onto it. Back to Kamenekt. Oh, beautiful bit of skill to get away from Luca Marseille, who won't enjoy being nutmeg there by the Sri Lanka international. On for the showreel there. Drag back. A flick through Luca Marseille's legs. Shot from range from Jakob Laval. Deflected wide for a corner. Veld, former Werder Bremen Youth Academy prospect, joined from Viktoria Berlin in 2022. Heading for his 50th appearance, got his first assist of his career a few weeks ago against Hallerscher. He is one of those waiting in the middle. Doesn't reach a player in black. Get another opportunity. Cleared again by Viktoria. This could be a sign of things to come though for the home side, and could be looking to survive with just a 3-goal deficit, and it could be 4 now. It's put wide by Tom Zimmerschied. Good feet, not the finish. It's forwards by Hermann. Danced away, throwing a number of Viktoria defenders. Stayed on his feet as Batter dived in. Viktoria still trying to play out from the back. This was clearly the game plan, but to wonder about the wisdom of that choice. One man light against a Dynamo that's showing how good it is at pressing, putting them under pressure even when they're on level terms in terms of players anyway, and they've got a way down the left wing here. Cleared and in the direction of Marseille again. Did enough to put Bunning under pressure. Banana throw. The Dresden faithful in full voice as they were late in the first half. Rain has eased off a little in Cologne. Whatever the weather, I think they would be singing along like this and showing that much skin. Not afraid of the elements, and not particularly afraid of this Viktoria side. As things stand, looking to add a force again. Into the danger area. Jakob Lemmer for a hat-trick of assists. Veld gives it away. End of park, and if Viktoria are to get themselves on the score sheet, they'll need to make the most of opportunities like this. A bit more space in the Dynamo half as they break forwards. Nice interchange. Marseille to keep it alive, but he can't get it back to Simon Handel. Kuchka with the turn, but the legs maybe not quite as quick and agile as they once were. Couldn't turn around quickly enough and was beaten to the ball by Michael Schultz. It's going to be a long 40 minutes or so for Olaf Janssen and his men. This time down the left for Dynamo. Great pace. Wonderful changes of direction from Zimmerschied. Wins the corner. Whilst the rain has eased off a little, it is still falling. That will only make things more difficult for Viktoria. Slippery surface, always trickier for defenders. More costly if they are to slip. No worries from that particular corner. Bunning getting to the ball first, but sending it nowhere near the goal. his first goal of the season as well. Another, the only Dynamo player on 4 yellow cards, looking to avoid that suspension. Picked up 3 in his last 4 games, and all 4 in his last 6, so been in trouble. And well, out of nowhere, Viktoria do get one back. It's beautifully taken. Ronny Begicevic, out of nothing, gives the Viktoria fans something to sing about, to improve their moods a little. Laid off to him by David Phillip, and it's a wonderful strike. I think merest fingertips on it from Deliacha, but not enough to prevent it skimming in off the inside of the post. Well, maybe there is life left in this match. Just yet. It's immediately back to defensive duties for Viktoria, but it's exactly what I was saying. They need to make the most of opportunities like that, and on that occasion they have. They also need to remain utterly resolute in defence if they are to snatch the most unlikely of points from this scenario. Begicevic, his 3rd goal of the season. Real beauty as well. The pick of the bunch. An assist last time out. Hasn't scored since early October, over a month ago. The winner against Ingolstadt. This one may well prove to be a consolation. But who knows from here? Just a slight hint of worry in those Dynamo minds. Continue to attack though, and look for number 4. Towards Kuchka. Fancies a hat-trick. Would fancy a hat-trick under any circumstances, but particularly under these. Orville with another shot, which deflects wide for a corner. Seems determined to get himself on the score sheet this evening. See the part he played in that Viktoria goal. Lack thereof. It is now Viktoria with the corner. Taken by Jakob Lemmer. We'll go back to the winger. Runs at the opposite number 10. Finds his way past him. Puts it into the corridor of uncertainty. But good enough from Ben Boll. He's looking to keep this respectable. Strong hand to the ball and cleared away by his defenders before any lurking attacker could pounce. Referee just pausing proceedings briefly. Word with the 2 captains, Kuchka and Fritz. I think that whistle in the crowd a little too similar to the referees for his liking, but difficult to do anything about that. And here come Viktoria on the break again. Begicevic this time though can't deliver with a ball forwards towards Marseille. They have to flood back themselves. Dynamo in no hurry. Slow tempo game will suit them just fine. Notch up another 3 points. We spoke about that result 5 years ago today, that 8-1 defeat for Dynamo, looking more likely to find themselves on the right end of that particular scoreline 5 years later. Before I was interrupted by that late stoppage time penalty. I mentioned Marcus Anfang saying how he remembered the day not just for the result but for the fans. In the pre-match press conference, he remembered how long the fans stood in the stands despite the defeat and supported their team. He said it was sensational. And those fans, there's plenty to cheer about this evening. But another free kick to defend now for their side. Marseille, tripped by Jakob Leveld. There's that moment from Jakob Lemmer at the other end. Well, doing enough. 22-year-old, very young keeper. Said himself out as the clear number one now. 1.95 meters tall, 6'5" for those in imperial measurements. Pretty tall keeper. It's also the case for Deliacha at the other end, but not in need of his height on that particular occasion. Cleared before it got to the keeper. He's also 1.92 meters, a little shorter than his opposite number. Battle in the middle. Marseille comes out with it. Impressively can't quite pick out Durankiewicz. Kamenekt. Space for the right back again. Whipped in a nice ball. It's brought down. Kuchka thinking about stealing it off his teammate, but deciding to let it play out in the end. And Viktoria looked to break again. Nice idea with the back heel, but just behind his teammate from Marseille. Well, more promising signs in the second half than Alef Janssen might even have hoped for. Now, oft talked about second half battle. They are 1-0 up effectively. They do look dangerous on the counter. Dynamo will have to remain aware. And on the attack, it could be deadly. Zimmerschied knocked it away from Viktoria right back. Now with Hermann. Kamenekt. 3 waiting in the middle. And it's towards Kuchka, but just wide. A hat-trick won't quite come. Not far away though from the far post, and Vol feeling the need to dive. Dynamo down the right again. Jakob Lemmer not afraid to run at his man, as he's already shown. Doing so again this time though. It's commendable defending. There will be a corner, but Simon Handel in that left back role, as we suspected, it appears. Holding his own this time against Lemmer. Seems to have hurt himself in the process. Holding his ribs. Just caught by an elbow from from Lemmer. Let's wait and see on the replay if there is one. Here comes Lemmer, the dummy, the shimmy, the drop of the shoulder. Maybe just catching the knee on the way down. Simon Handel, but back on his feet and able to defend this corner. She is headed away, only as far as Park though. Back in. I'd say Viktoria look up for this. Looked like their heads had dropped in the first half, but they're showing some excellent running. How long they'll be able to keep that up, we'll have to wait and see, but they are defending resolutely as they have to. And then immediately on the attack, every time they get the chance for counter. Luca Marseille there, bundled over. No free kick, much to the frustration of the Cologne fans. Marseille making his way slowly back to the defensive half. Dynamo make their way slowly towards the Viktoria goal. It'll be a fascinating final quarter of the game. We approach that point. Dynamo almost appear not sure how to deal with this now. How much to attack. And we've seen what Viktoria can do on the break. Well, that was almost 3 against 4 there. Frustration for Marseille. And the referee has blown against him already, of course. Frustrated by the decision a couple of minutes ago. Certainly a firm shoulder. Luca Herrmann. And then a clash with Orville straight after. There will be 2 more changes to be made for Viktoria here, as Olaf Janssen continues to use who's available to him, as you'd expect under the circumstances. I was almost surprised just to see the 1 change at the halfway point, and that will be Marseille's final involvement. He'll be disappointed. He looked up for it, but fresh legs so important in the situation that Viktoria find themselves in. See a little kick of 1 or 2 things as he makes his way to the bench. David Phillip, the other man, sacrificed. It's Valdrin Mustafa coming on, number 11, 25-year-old forward. To use those fresh legs as Viktoria burst away on the counter. Marseille had done a lot of running already. Born in Germany, represented Albania and Kosovo. Mustafa, at youth level at least, and alongside him will be Sayel Najar, another forward, a little older, 28. What can they do, if anything, against the league leaders in this final 20 minutes or so? There's more light visible at the end of the tunnel. I'm sure even most optimistic Viktoria fans would have been expecting after that first half the players' heads looked to have dropped. And I said Olaf Janssen would have to produce some team talk to get their chins up, in some optimism, but he appears to have done just that. They have a clear game plan and they're executing it very well so far in the second half. Viktoria still just sitting back, letting Dynamo come to them. You can see they hunt in packs as the ball comes close to them. That's the only way this plan is going to work. It's very much all for one, one for all. Their legs holding up for now. That is into the box though by Herman. Kamenek knocks it forwards to Lemmer, who looks to get the best of Simon Handel again. Who looks aggrieved at the decision, whatever it is. Totally clear, yeah? Lemmer also didn't look best pleased with it. It's a free kick from earlier on, seemingly. Maybe the grappling between the two. Lemmer to put the ball into a sea of players. Gave it away at the near post, but laid off and struck from the edge of the area by Nicholas Hauptmann, looking to add his second of the evening. To wait and see how the final 20 minutes, if Viktoria will stick with this game plan or whether as the seconds and minutes continue to tick down, whether they'll have to throw a few more men forwards and push a bit higher up the pitch rather than just waiting for their opportunities to present themselves on the counter around the edge of their own area often. Referee will produce the yellow card again, this time against the substitute, Mustafa. He needs to ensure he doesn't talk himself into a second yellow, reduce his side to 9 and extinguish the smallest hope they do have. They have a comeback here. Jakob Levald, player brought down. Certainly a little late and a little clumsy. Well, Dynamo yet to make a change of their own. 3, of course, used up by the home side. Marcus Anfang happy to let things play out for now. Orville. Ball in, and it's again come to Hauptmann on the edge of the area. Lovely back heel, and here come Viktoria again. Running forwards, but frustrating. Moritz Fritz, the captain, not leading by example as he'd want. Hand of apology. Rather bungled that pass forwards. In fact, had a look at his shirt, it may well have been Patrick Koronkiewicz. Indeed it was. They had their better looking chances there. It was about 4-on-4. They broke forwards, but a miss kick from the midfielder, putting an end to that. That's gone into the net, but I think, yes, the referee already going for the goal kick. It was Tom Zimmerschied pressing forwards. First touch, which has been so good throughout the game, this time slightly letting him down. Did just about go out, and Viktoria saved from the ignominy of adding an own goal to what has been a rough night, giving away 2 penalties and seeing their centre-backs awarded a red. Ball against Paul Ville there, who will earn himself a yellow for cynically kicking the ball away. He said he was more likely to get a booking than a goal. He's been having a lot of pops at the target, but it's not his first goal of the season, in fact his first booking of the season that he picks up in the game. Not sure if it was for the handball, I think maybe just kicking the ball away needlessly into the book, Ville. And it's into the box by Viktoria, and swinging a leg at it there, Mustafa. And the referee pauses proceedings because Jakub Lewald is still down. No, in fact it's Kuchka holding his face. Imagine the attempt from Mustafa, maybe just catching the Dynamo captain on the way through. See it here. Flicked on. Oh, it was early, it was the collision, I think, with David Kubata, head to head. Kuchka delved back into the archives here. He's looking for his first hat-trick in over 6.5 years. The last came against Stuttgart in the second tier in a 3-3 draw. He's loitering in the penalty box again. He wants it, you can see it. Kamenekt to be aiming in his general direction. Not to close quarters though. Under a quarter of an hour remaining. Going through the motions somewhat. Sloppy pass ahead of Kamenekt from Luca Herrmann. We will get a fourth Viktoria substitution before we get our first Dynamo one. And the number 13 about to join the action, Luca De Mista. Teenager, 19 years of age, another forward. Answering our question of whether Olof Jansen would throw more in an attacking sense. Well, very much so. David Kubata coming off, the defender, placed by a forward. Damage limitation forgotten somewhat here, and Viktoria commendably are going for an incredible comeback. You can perhaps see why, the way that the game has gone. Dynamo stalling a little, maybe complacency creeping in. 3-0 up at half-time, the league leaders, an extra man. I wonder how much players will want to add another to their tally here to at least that they've drawn the second half, or it might be a slightly different team talk at full time than it was at half time from Marcus Anfang. Kuchka, the ball nicked off him. Flicked on by Najar. The next seemingly guilty party. Pulling down the substitute. Schultz back to the number 21 again. Finds himself dribbling all the way towards his own goal. Holding onto it well, but going in the opposite direction than he'd have wanted. Rashid again, first touch lacking, and this time giving away a free kick after. And again, the yellow card will come out. Dynamo getting a little clumsy here. Apology from the winger. Those two extraordinary first touches in the first half. I've got a distant memory. There's a couple of loose touches, cost a potential goal, and now a booking. Onkivitz on the receiving end. That's nicely worked forwards again. It's on the edge of the area with Mustafa. The referee believes Lars Bunnings that he got the ball. Cut out by Park. And then the South Korean blocking off the Viktoria attacker as he tried to knock it past him. There's the claim from Mustafa. You can see there Bunning just about getting to the ball, certainly taking a chunk of the man as well, but not the ball to justify. The referee being happy with no free kick on the edge of the area. Would have set a few Dynamo pulses raising a little higher. And we will finally get a change and a double change from Marcus Anfang. Even Ehlers, you see there, waiting to come on, and also Robin Meissner. Jakob Lemmer won't get a hat-trick of assists. He'll make way for Ehlers. Distinctive curly hair of Ehlers. Meissner placing Zimmerscheid on the opposite wing as Anfang and Dresden look to shore things up a touch for this final 10 minutes. Meissner scored late on last time out in that 2-0 win, 86th minute, to cement the result after Hermann had scored in the 3rd minute. And now they look to score late on, and they do. And there's no celebration from the former Viktoria man. But it is 4-1 to Dynamo Dresden. Well, it was another beauty from outside the box. Viktoria punished for giving the ball away just outside their area again. And how about that for Meissner? Said scored late on in the previous, scored late on in this one, but with about his 3rd touch. One to control, second to get it out from his feet, and Meissner immediately finding the bottom corner. Call that a super sub. Joined from Viktoria in the summer, as mentioned before kickoff. Robin Meissner coming back to haunt his old club here and put paid to any remaining hope that they could snatch a point from what looked an impossible task as they came into the half, but it was an excellent effort from Viktoria, I have to say. Beautiful goal from Doni Bogicevic, which gave them a bit of hope. And they never had Dynamo overtly worried, you'd say, but certainly had them second-guessing themselves a little. They have restored that 3-goal lead now and in a very similar level of style to the Bigicevic goal. And now it could be about to get worse. And it is. And it is the hat-trick for Kuchka. He tried. He failed a couple of times, but now he succeeds. His first hat-trick in over 6 years puts the icing on the cake for Dynamo Dresden. It was a nice ball forwards from the other substitute. The subs combining. You almost wonder why Marcus Anfang waited so long to make them, but can't argue with the results. Ellers forward to Meissner, and a clinical pass across what was a very vacated area. And there was no way Kuchka could miss that one. Not the kind to turn up a hat-trick opportunity when it is that clearly presented on a plate for the experienced Dynamo hat-trick man. Luca Herrmann to run his race, and Kuchka will get surely a standing ovation from the travelling Dynamo fans now, having completed his hat-trick. Tom Kasper Berger will come on in place of Herrmann. Herrmann missed training on Wednesday, but returned and played his part. He scored against his former club last time out and was selected by Liga Dritte Online's readers as the player of the week. Kuchka will be a pretty solid shout for this match day's player of the week. He's replaced for the final few minutes though by the number 9, Manuel Schaffler. Another 34-year-old, experienced, big striker. And the scoreline perhaps a little harsh on Viktoria in the end. Representative of their performance in the first half, certainly, where they crumbled somewhat in the later stages. But it was such a good effort for much of the second half. It's a shame to see them falling so far behind now, as they did go for broke. He said, Olof Jansen, choosing to go attacking. No damage limitation, with that glimmer of hope of a famous comeback, as it would have been if they managed to get a couple more goals. Brought on an attacker or two in place of a defender. Once a man down, you can see how it's punishing them now. So much space for Kuchka to complete his hat-trick. Pretty much unaccompanied in the area by any Viktoria defenders. And having waited over 80 minutes for any, we will now have our final Dynamo substitution. In the 89th minute, Nicholas Hauptmann, who added the second of the 5. Another beauty, catching that awkward high bouncing ball, firing it into the bottom corner. And his round of applause from the Dynamo fans. Rightfully, understandably, a smile on his face. And he's replaced it by Tony Menzel. Another teenager, 18, Menzel, given a few minutes to show what he can do. What is just his second appearance of the season, but it's Viktoria looking for a second of their own. It was curling towards at bottom corner before Stefan Dalaccia made sure it was going wide, I think, with a touch. Lovely back heel. And the effort not too far away from Simon Handel, still full of running despite a tough task of defending against Jakob Lemmer. And he moved back from midfield into the adapted left-back role in his hand for the second half. Bogicevic, the goal scorer, now on corner kick duty as we head into stoppage time. And it's headed goalwards, this time by Schultz. Scored the injury time winner versus 1860, but no chance of any injury time goal here making much of a difference. Still though, Viktoria look to add to their tally. Give them credit for this second half performance. It looked like it might become very ugly. They made Dynamo think, at least, for much of the second half before it has got away from them in the end. But they at least, seemingly, barring a very dramatic last couple of minutes, won't fall to the 8-1 loss that we mentioned 5 years ago to the day that Dresden suffered in Cologne in 2018. Wonderful first touch there. It's a drilled ball forwards. Return ball a long way ahead of Mustafa though. Well, Lucky Hansen watching on. Rain has stopped. And I'm sure he will be at least proud of the way his players responded in the second half. Still full of running to the very end, even with realistically nothing to play for. 4 down in the 93rd minute, and still they flood forwards and then flood back to defend. As Dynamo look for a 6th, Meissner with a lovely ball, flicked on into the middle, but not the finishing touch for number 6. All the substitutes combining. Hellers, Meissner, Menzel with the final touch, drifting wide. Well, they will re-extend their lead at the top of the standings. We'll be over to Jan Regensburg to see if they can claw back onto level terms in terms of points, albeit we played a game extra later in the weekend. But Dynamo extend their impressive unbeaten run a little further, as well as their lead at the top of the standings, and look to extend their lead in this match to 5. The ball over the top, not quite able to bring it down. And there is the final whistle. A job done pretty much in the first half. It looked like it might get far worse in the second. A man down, Viktoria, and 3 goals down, but they fought hard, got one back through Toni Bogicevic's lovely shot from range. and kept Dynamo honest for the most part, but 2 goals in 3 second half minutes. Late on, Robin Meissner against his former club, moments after entering the pitch in the 83rd minute, and Stefan Kuchka, the captain, completing his hat-trick in the 85th, but paid the hopes of an unlikely comeback. Dynamo do move on to 34 points with a 5-1 win. Improves their goal difference further as well, to +15. They will almost certainly end the match week at the top of the table. Jan Regensburg, forgive me, will have to respond in their match. But for now, a tough night comes to an end for Viktoria Köln. They'll have to try and bounce back next time out. Dynamo will look to continue riding the wave after a 5-1 win.